So Dean, how is things? The league so far is going pretty well. Just the one loss to Derry last weekend.
Yeah, look, I suppose we've had a very competitive start to Division 2. It's most games have gone down to the wire, which is probably what you want, because that's what the summer is going to be like, more or less. But yeah, look, a great game against Derry. Obviously disappointed with the result, but certain aspects you're pleased with. But to go all that way up there and not get a victory, not get a point, it was disappointing. But back on the horse now and ready to go for Meath in a couple of days' time, which was a really exciting game to look forward to.
Where do you think it went wrong against Derry? Obviously you had the 5-point lead at half time, so things were looking quite comfortable then.
Yeah, look, I suppose we played particularly well in the first half. It wasn't perfect, but we had a good lead going in at half time, and then I suppose just with games, momentum, and when Derry got a goal, obviously it's difficult, and the massive home support there as well. So it was it was one of them things. But we look back on it. There's certain, when you lose by a point, you probably overanalyze everything. But there were certain aspects of the second half performance we disappointed with in terms of just turning the ball over. But something to look at, and as I said, we just to put into practice over the next couple of weeks to get ready for Meath.
Yeah, I spoke to Desi Farrell after the game. He took a lot of positives from the performance. It was a good Division 2 game. It was good intensity, and I suppose that's what you want when you're preparing for a championship. But I suppose people don't associate Dublin losing down the last stretch, to really be able to get over the line. They expect Dublin to do that. Why do you think that didn't happen?
Yeah, look, I suppose we haven't probably met up as a group yet since the game, so we'll have our analysis of it and go through it. But obviously there was key moments at the end. We probably had the ball towards that last play and just turned it over, unfortunately, and then gave Derry that last opportunity. So it's a bit of just game management in terms of just making sure that if we're not going to win the game, make sure we don't lose it. So it's just probably holding on to it a little bit better and working a better shot. But yeah, look, as I said, we'll go back to the drawing board and back to training and see what happens from next week.
What is the challenge like of now being asked these questions rather than questions on back-to-back All-Irelands? Because obviously since you've been in quite a while now, a lot of All-Irelands to your name. So you went from back-to-back All-Irelands to now maybe Dublin have pulled back to the pack a little bit. What's it like now to be asked those questions, I suppose?
Yeah, no, I think it's a challenge, really. It's something that a lot of the group haven't been exposed to, but we've been exposed to it for the last 2.5 years, really. So it's something that we are quite used to now at this stage, and I suppose just the bigger the adversity, the bigger the opportunity as well. So we know exactly where we are as a group. We've been hugely competitive, obviously, in the championship the last 2 seasons, and not been too far away. But the primary objective at the moment is to try and get promoted from Division 2 and get back to Division 1, and that's where you want to play football. That's where everyone wants to be. So yeah, big couple of weeks ahead of us in terms of the games against Meath and Louth, and hopefully we get the results there to take us back to Division 1.
And do you feel that you need to adapt your game style at all? That was something maybe after the Derry game that people talked about, playing one style of football, and can Dublin adapt their play to certain teams? Do you feel like there's been an evolution over the last 3 or 4 years, or are you sticking with that style of play that you would have always played?
Yeah, look, you're always evolving. You're evolving game by game, not even year by year. But I suppose how the game has gone now, it can be quite frustrating for maybe inside forwards and stuff like that with so many teams back. So you're trying to get your ball players on the ball as much as possible. But it is difficult. The game is now more so like basketball with 15 behind the ball, 15 attacking, 15 defending. So it's challenging. And look, you're trying to break that mold and come up with ways to play a bit more attacking football and not play sort of mundane, boring football at times. But it's a challenge, and it's something that we're aspiring to do at the moment and working on the training ground. So we'll see what happens come summer.
Yeah, you really need your fitness levels to be through the roof to be able to play that style of play. And I suppose, is that something that you look to peak come championship time? Yeah,
look, I think particularly this year with the championship, it's a totally different championship. Nobody's played in anything like this before, so it's going to be interesting from a player's perspective, management, and the strength and conditioning staff for every county, because it's week on week, so recovery is going to be huge, and when to peak, when not to peak is a difficult question, and it's something very hard to know when that's meant to be first. So look, we'll see what happens. I'm sure the lads have a plan. for the summer ahead. But yeah, you just have to earn the right to get there first, and see what happens then.
What is it like in the panel at the minute? Obviously some new faces are coming in and putting their hands up for places, and then you've some of maybe the older lads that are still there too, that are very much in contention and still starting. What's it like, I suppose, the dynamic of, I suppose, competition for places?
Yeah, look, the competition for places has always been so high in Dublin, and it's something that, you know, drives the standards in training and then gets you to perform in games. And yeah, a lot of guys back, a lot of guys coming back from injury as well, which is positive for the group. And yeah, it's like you want everyone back. It's obviously the nature of the sport and sport in general that you're always going to have injuries, but I think we're getting more players back now than on the sidelines, which is really encouraging. And I think they're just waiting for the weather to get a little bit better and a little bit warmer before they're back. But yeah, no, I think it's great to have those guys back, and as I said, it's going to just drive that level of competition and hopefully just improve us then as a team.
How has the inter-county setup changed from when you started out to now? I'm sure there's been massive changes. You said that, not me.
Yeah, yeah, no, not at all. 33 now. Yeah, look, it's obviously it's changed. It's totally changed. Like Jesus, when he was first in the panel in 2009. When Kerry beat us that time by 17 points. Was on the bench that day. But yeah, no, it's totally changed from just an analysis perspective and video work. It's you have every camera angle available to you now, and everything is analysed and maybe sometimes over-analysed, but that's just the nature of it now. It's the same in club football even now. It's gone to such a high level, which is great in one way, and in another way it can be a bit of an overkill at times, but it's just trying to strike that balance. But yeah, certainly the game, and yeah, it's evolved an awful lot since my time started off.
Yeah. And even the commitment levels, I know you always would have had, the commitment levels would have always been there, but is there maybe even more expected of you now?
So since I've been playing, I suppose you're always doing obviously the training that's prescribed from the team, and then you're always doing that little bit of extra work yourself, whether it's working on your free taking or just injury prevention stuff or general recovery. So like inter-county football and club football now at the stage, it's a 6 or 7 day a week job. You know, it really is, like, on top of your family life, on top of your work. So it's yeah, it's a very busy time, but it's something you enjoy. Look, if you didn't want to do it, you wouldn't do it. Yeah. So it's certainly something I enjoy, but it's yeah, it's fairly full on.
You mentioned family life. You obviously have had a baby not too long ago, so things have changed, I'm sure. What is that like? Are you getting sleep, or how is that all going?
More grey hair now at the moment, but yeah, no, look, Sadie's great, and Neve's brilliant, very accommodating for my football as well. But yeah, having a baby it's a game changer. Definitely gives you a bit more perspective. But she's brilliant. Like she actually sleeps incredibly well, so
that's good.
Touch wood now. Yeah. She'll continue with that and get more sleep than I've ever got, so that's certainly a positive.
Is that the case for Neve as well?
That's a positive. No, it is, fairness, it is for Neve. Yeah, no, I do the odd night feeding, but no, thankfully she's gone off that now. But no, yeah, that certainly gives you a different outlook in life, but thankfully she's all healthy and well.
Is Neve still playing club football?
Neve is, yeah, she's playing club football. She's actually playing O'Connor Cup this weekend as well. She's doing a PhD in TUD, so she is going up to the Dome to play somewhere I've never played, so I don't think I'll play up there either. She's one up on me, but yes, she's back. Yeah, she's enjoying it. She's 87 months, but Neve was back playing with the club after 8 weeks after Sadie was born, so she's yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
I couldn't do it now. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Fair play, it's amazing.
Amazing. Well, Dean, thanks so much.
No worries, actually. Thank you.
Ronan, how has life been as a Dublin hurler and obviously Kilmacud Crokes as well?
Yeah, it's been good. We've had a good year and back in the setup now with Dublin, so enjoying it. A lot of work to be done, but getting through it now.
Yeah, definitely a good year from a club perspective anyway. So successful for the football and the hurling. The hurling against Ballyhale Shamrocks in the Leinster final, a brilliant game. I was at that game. I suppose, how was that for the club to have gone that far and to be in Croke Park?
Yeah, it's definitely a special year for the club across all codes. I think from a hurling perspective, it's something we hadn't done before, winning sort of consecutive county titles. So to then progress on into a Leinster final was really special. Wasn't to be on the day, but definitely a learning experience, and proud of all the success we've had throughout the club. So yeah.
And for both teams to be there, was unbelievable. You don't see that ever, that the football and the hurling are there competing in the All-Ireland Championship.
Yeah, it was bizarre in a way. Like, there was a lot of buzz around Stillorgan throughout the sort of weeks leading up to it. But then when it came to the day, you nearly forgot that the footballers were out after us. You were so focused on your own game and your own job, and you sort of felt for Brian Sheehy in a way that he was sat in one dressing room preparing for a hurling game, and then 60 minutes later he was back in a football dressing room preparing for the Leinster final again. So no, it was definitely a special experience for the club.
Yeah, that was unbelievable that he was going to play both games. Like, it's just crazy. But fair play to him. Obviously, a dual player is something that's not dying out, but it's harder to do. It's just so tough nowadays with the fixtures and the likes of it. I'm sure there would have been way more, but it's just nearly impossible at times.
Yeah, they're few and far between, especially in Crokes. Like, we've two very competitive senior teams, and you need to be at every training session to be keeping your jersey and keeping your spot in the team. So the nature of the game is gone, that you're training 3 times a week, so that you just the time demands and the physical demands of playing both are at a high level anyways, are probably gone from intercounty and from senior club games.
And obviously there was lots of drama with the footballers, with Glenn afterwards. What was that like, I suppose, as a club person? What was it like for the club? I'm sure it mustn't have been the nicest time, I suppose, celebrating in All-Ireland, but then hearing the next day that maybe it's not your All-Ireland just yet.
Yeah, I was at the game, and I suppose the first reaction was just immense pride. Like, I'd be friends with a lot of the lads on the football setup, would have played football the whole way up, so would have known them, and was really happy for them. And then to see sort of the following day and the sort of following weeks, that being dragged out, and I felt for both sets of players in a way that they couldn't just park it and move on, and that Crokes couldn't celebrate properly in a way. But no, I suppose looking back on it now, that they've been crowned champions, and they can be really proud of the success that they've had, and hopefully that there'll be more to come.
Did they get to celebrate a second time?
I'm not sure now. I wasn't involved in the celebrations. I was there the first night and congratulated them, so I'm not sure if a second round of celebrations happened, but yeah, I'd say so.
And then for you personally, then you were just telling me that you have a hamstring issue at the minute, so you're not playing?
Yeah, I'm out. I'm sidelined for a couple of weeks, so I'm working through a rehab program trying to get back. So I'm hopeful that I'll be back in time, but we'll see. Time will tell.
And give us an insight into Dublin hurling at the minute. Is there new faces in there? What's it like?
Yeah, no, there's a huge turnover in players. A lot of lads stepped away for different reasons last year, and we've a lot of young lads coming up through underage setup. So there's a lot of new faces. We've a new managing team as well. So it's been going well so far. The group are gelling well, and the managing team are professional, and they've put in place a lot of good resources that have helped us progress as a team. So hopefully that'll continue.
When you have new management in, does it bring, I suppose, a freshness? There's, I suppose, this energy that you want to prove yourself as well?
Yeah, no, combined with the young lads who are competing for your place. So a lot of the more experienced players are trying to impress the new management, as well as keeping out young lads from taking their jersey. So no, it breeds competition in a way that lads are trying to impress and constantly trying to improve and put their hand up come championship time. Some
good performances in the league so far. I know you've been sidelined, but I suppose, what have you made of it?
Yeah, I've been watching on, doing stats here and there, so I've stayed involved. I suppose it was a good win here the first day against Antrim, and we'll have them later on in the year in Championship, so it was a good test for ourselves first day out. And then we were sort of disappointed in ourselves with the tip performance. We thought that we could get something from the game, and hopefully now this weekend it'll be a different story down in Kilkenny.
Yeah, Kilkenny this weekend in Kilkenny in Nolan Park. I'm sure that's a game you would have liked to have played in, especially to get one back on the Ballyhale Shamrocks lads.
Yeah, I suppose each game you sit out, you're just more eager to get back in, and yeah, Kilkenny will be a good test in the league, so hopefully we'll put our best foot forward and either get a win or learn something for come championship time. I suppose that's the be all and end all is the championship games in summer.
I was speaking with Dean Rock just before you came in, and we just spoke about the challenges of being an inter-county player. How do you find it trying to balance life, personal life, your work with being an inter-county player as well?
Yeah, I suppose it kind of ebbs and flows in a way, how well prepared you are, and you know, you kind of get into a routine, and then if something upsets it, then you're sort of thrown for a couple of days. But yeah, it's difficult. It's an ongoing challenge, but I think it's definitely worth it. You know, all the sacrifices you make and sort of the extracurricular stuff you give up outside of playing hurling or football or whatever it is, that it's definitely worth it when it comes to representing your county.
Yeah, I was asking them what the best part and the toughest part of it is. What would you say the toughest part is?
I suppose keeping people happy. You never want to let anyone down, and particularly if it's a family member or a close friend, and you kind of have to, tell them I'm too busy at the moment. Can I, put it off till the next week or the following week? And it can be tough to say no sometimes to people. So yeah, I suppose letting people down is definitely the hardest part.
And then the best bit?
Best bit's definitely representing your county and representing your family and your club. So when it comes to championship days and you get a good win, that those people coming onto the pitch that they've helped you and they've supported you the whole way there. It's nice to kind of pay them back in a way.
And what is the aim or the goal? Have you spoke about it as a team, what you want to do this year?
Yeah, I think each player is different, but I think as a collective we're always trying to improve and aiming to win. Like, you want to win every game, every player does, and we're hoping to progress on and hopefully win Leinster and on into the All-Ireland campaign. So that's the goal for the year.
Emma Byrne, how has it been with Dublin Camogie at the minute? Obviously you just started the league.
Look, it's all positive from our side. I know by looking at the scores, it kind of looks like we're on a downward path, but really the improvement we've made in the last few weeks has been very positive, and our performance against Kilkenny the last day was just proof of that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it is 3 defeats in the league so far, but as you said, that Kilkenny performance, I think in particular in the second half, really showed that there's improvement there, and you're coming up against big teams as well. Yeah,
exactly. And realistically, if we look at it like this time last year, around May time, we would have played them in the Leinster final and got there was way more of a gap in the score. So I think 6 points was a big positive to take away from that, especially with new players, and we're a young team and there's new management in and stuff. So I think it's all positive anyway.
Yeah. And there's new players in, new faces, as you've mentioned. So is it completely new to get used to playing together, or what's that dynamic like?
Definitely it's kind of always been the case with us that we've had to adapt to a lot of new management and players stepping away and a lot of injuries, but I think luckily enough we're actually a very player-led team, so it's only a positive. We just kind of bring the same mentality every year, regardless of the managerial changes or players leaving and players coming in, stuff like that.
Yeah, you just got to stick to yourselves and what you do best. As you said, you've had some managerial changes. There has been 2 managers this year, so that's not the ideal start that you would have liked. I suppose, what happened there and how was that transition?
Yeah, look, I think looking in, it's being a senior intercounty manager is a big task to ask, and I said before, it's a big part of your life, but it's not your whole life, so that goes the same for managers. And I think with the setup that we have now, we're in good hands. As I said, we can easily adapt to those kind of changes. So it's all been positive really. We have Jerry McQuaid in now and Mickey McCulloch. And our backroom team is insane. Like, having Mags Darcy there, who's like a great female leader to have there. It's a big positive. So we have to kind of take the positives where we can.
And what has Jerry and Mick brought to the setup?
I think just they obviously have a good track record with wins and All Ireland. So I think it's great to have that kind of winning mentality kind of seep throughout the team. It's. Jerry's won 3 All-Irelands with Wexford, and obviously Mags was a part of that, and Mickey McCulloch has managed countless teams, Dublin Hurlers and Slotneil and the likes of that, so I think it's all positive.
Do you feel like you can see what they're trying to do? Like, sometimes when new management comes in, it takes a bit of time, like it's a process. You're not just going to start winning games straight off the back of it. Do you feel within the squad at trainings, like, I get it, I know what they're doing, we just need to give this time?
Yeah, exactly. I think a big thing for us is buying into what they're showing to us, and like I said, they have brilliant experience amongst them, so I think it's just a matter of us buying into what they're trying to do with us.
And was this always the path that you wanted to take? You always wanted to play for Dublin Camogie team?
I actually started kind of late. I started when I was about 12 or 13, so the fact that I'm on the senior team at the moment, it's a big deal, especially for girls in my club and stuff. I'm from a small enough club, so it means a lot. Like, it's a big honour to be playing for your county.
Absolutely. What would you say is the best part of being an inter-county camogie player?
I think just the fact that we're all kind of doing this together, we're all chasing the same thing, and like I always say, like I see the girls more than I see my own family members sometimes. So I think when you're all aiming for that, I think it's a special thing, and it's something that's quite rare amongst all other things in your life, you know, that kind of way. Yeah. So.
And what would you say is the toughest part of it all?
I'd say just having the like kind of mental strength to just go again, especially this year, and looking at the losses that we've had, like it's hard to kind of get yourself reset. But I think like that's probably the most challenging part, is when you do get those losses, that it's a matter of picking it up again and remaining kind of optimistic for the next few games kind of thing. So yeah.
Is that a matter of maybe some of the more experienced players stepping up? You're really young, but you're probably one of the figures in there as well. Do you have to sort of like let the new girls know, like, you know, we have to keep our heads and we just have to keep concentrating on the process, as we spoke about? Yeah,
definitely. And I think it is it does kind of it shows our kind of maturity in the older part of the group. Like I think it's just a matter of trust with the older girls, especially with the changes that we've had. But I think the new girls that have come up have just shown like so much maturity, and I think it kind of just radiates through the team, that kind of mentality of going again, and it just gets through to the younger players as well, so that's a great thing as well.
Is there anything about the camogie game at the minute that you would change?
I think it was kind of mentioned last year about the physicality, like it's great to see that kind of enabled again. So I'd say it's just a matter of maintaining that element of the sport. You know, we're trying to match like the likes of the lads game, and I think it should be enabled, you know, that kind of way. So
I was speaking with Kate Sullivan from the ladies football team, and you know, she said about bringing more physicality into football would be ideal, because you know, you're constantly in the gym, you're constantly getting your body to perform at the best level, and you want to be able to do that once you get out on the pitch.
Yeah, definitely. I think it makes such a difference for the flow of the game as well. And I know referees, they give up so much of their time. It's just a matter of us all as players being on the same wavelength in that regard, in regards to physicality, you know. Like you said, we spend a lot of our time in the gym, and we kind of want to see that translated onto the pitch as well.
And how do you find balancing normal everyday life? I'm sure you work as well as playing inter-county camogie.
Yeah, like it's tough as well. Like obviously it's not just the hours that you have to go to train, and you don't just show up to train. You have to give a lot of your time give a lot of your time to other aspects of life. So I think it's just a matter of like I said, keeping that mental like resilience as well. But yeah, you're loving it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And what is the aim or the goals this year? Have you spoke about that? Is it to win Leinster? Is it to go on and win the All Ireland? What are the aims?
I think realistically at the moment, like our aim was to stay in Division 1A, and there's obviously still time to do that, but I think it's a matter of trying to build a bit of stability in our own group, and we do want to stay in 1A obviously, so it's just a matter of chasing the next 2 games and seeing how that goes.
Kate, how's things going at the minute in Dublin football?
Yeah, pretty good. I think we could probably take a lot of learnings out of the league. A few tough games and a few patches what we were really happy with. I think coming in with a fairly new panel, we knew there was going to be a lot of learnings, so we're happy enough with that.
Yeah, a lot of new faces around Dublin football at the minute. Is there any players to watch out for that's up and coming?
Yeah, definitely. There's a few young girls that have come in there and have got a bit of game time, and hopefully they'll be pushing standards to the older girls there for the championship.
Yeah, it's all about that in the league, to really get a look at girls that maybe haven't previously got a chance, and maybe some of the older girls as well are probably taking a bit of time to themselves before they come back into things.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the other girls, like, they've taken a well-deserved rest, and it's an opportunity for younger girls to step up and kind of put a name on a jersey for them. Yeah.
And the likes of Lindsay Davey obviously has stepped away, an unbelievable player for Dublin over the years. She's a massive loss, probably like a big figure that you had in that dressing room.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Lindsay was probably one of the best players to play the game, and as a team and player myself, I learned a lot from her. So look, she gave so many years to Dublin and deserves the break now, so it's time for the younger girls to step up and fill her boots.
And the likes of Sinead McGoldrick as well, she's playing the AFLW. Will we see her at all this year, do you think?
Yeah, she's doing really well over there. As I knew she would. Like, she's a great athlete, but as I said, like some of the other girls are taking a bit of time during the league, and they'll have to make their decision then come championship.
So the first game was against Meath. You have a good rivalry with Meath now over the last number of years. I suppose, what was that like to go out and play them? I know it was in DCU, the game, and Meath just got the win in the end.
Yeah, we were happy enough with that performance being our first game back. Again, a lot of new faces did play that game, and it was the same for Meath and their new management and everything coming in. So we knew it was going to be a challenge. But look, we just take one game at a time during the league and try and improve on each one.
Kerry is a team in the league that's really putting up big performances. We saw the result against Meath last weekend in particular. Are they the team to watch out for this year?
Yeah, they had a really, really good league campaign, and I think they have a lot of players that are probably in their peak, and they work together really well as a team and good systems. So yeah, they'll definitely be a big team come championship now. I think it'll be fairly open, and that's what you want. So everyone will be in the mix now come summer.
Yeah, it's really exciting that there's so many teams that are really pushing for that All-Ireland. You were telling me just before we came on that your week, what it looks like, and it's quite hectic. Run me through what it looks like to be an inter-county footballer.
Yeah, so we'd be training 4 times a week in the gym and pitch for the session. So look, the management team, they've put a lot of work in. They know how to have us right for games and also do the work on and off the pitch. So they've got us set up nicely.
So it's about 4 days during the week?
Yeah, like depending on the match that weekend. But yeah, it'd be 4 days and then the match. So yeah, it's tough going. You
were telling me about a bonding session as well.
Yeah, we took a trip out to the Curragh there over the weekend, and we thought it was going to be a bit of fun and bonding, but knowing us, we're a very competitive bunch, so it was tough work.
It ended up in a lot of running.
Yeah, a lot of running in the dirty water as well. But it was good fun. Yeah.
And what is Mick Bowen like as a manager? Obviously, he's a lot of experience now, which is a long time. What would you describe him like as a manager?
I think he's an excellent manager. He's brought ladies football up a level, I think, and not just him on his own, but he's brought in a management team around him that work really well together, and they do so much behind the scenes for a team as well. Like, there's no stones unturned when it's come to on and off the pitch of what they can do for the team.
When you had that All-Ireland loss to Meath, I think that was a really sucker punch. It looked like it anyway from watching on. It was a bit of a shock maybe in ways. I spoke to Mick after the game and you could definitely see that he was very disappointed and distraught with it all, because obviously you want to win the All-Ireland. At that point, was there any talk of Mick stepping away or anything like that?
No, there was. I think we all went back into the dressing room after the match, and we said that we'd commit to going again next year. So we knew that we were all going to put the work in together and go back at it. Yeah,
that's so impressive to be thinking that way straight after an All-Ireland loss.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think you can't say it about me. They were absolutely outstanding on the day, and it took us a lot to look back and reflect on ourselves and kind of mistakes we made and to kind of change it around. But everyone was in the mindset that they wanted to go again, and we knew we still had a good chance of going again.
And just for you personally on your journey in the Dublin inter-county setup, you came off the bench for a few years and then you were staking your claim in your own position then. How has that been as a journey for you?
Yeah, look, I've loved every minute of it. I think coming into the team, they're the players there, you learn so much from the older girls, even like the sales girls that are in my home club that I would have grown up playing with and watching. And you do your few years of learning from them, and then you kind of try to step up and take your jersey. So yeah, I've been lucky. I've been working hard and getting game time over the last while. So I just want to help the team and put my stamp on it. So yeah.
Was this always the path you wanted to take? You always wanted to put on that Dublin jersey? Yeah,
definitely. Ever since I was a kid, I used to go up to, my dad used to manage the Sylvester team with Sinead, her and Niamh McAvoy and Nicole on it. And it's definitely something I want to do when I grow up, yeah.
Sinead Ahern, you mentioned her there, obviously a massive figure within the team as well. She's not featuring in the league, but she's coming back for championship.
I'm not 100% sure. Another player that deserves to take the time and get their body right and then make a decision for themselves. So that'll be something that she'll have to decide now over the coming weeks.
Yeah, what a player, and she must be such a figure, even in the dressing room. Does she, I suppose, give any talks before the game? Is she that type of player?
Yeah, definitely. She's one of those people that when she talks in the dressing room, everyone's silent and you kind of listen to her words. She doesn't need to say a lot, but what she does say, it means a lot, and you can tell where it's coming from.
What would you say is the best part of being an inter-county footballer?
I'd say definitely the friendships that you make. You're all striving to go for the same goal, and just being in that team environment. I don't think a lot of people that don't play probably wouldn't understand like the sacrifice and everything you have to make, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, you probably need to surround yourself with like-minded people that understand. Like, do you have friends that maybe don't play sport and wondering, why do you give so much time to this?
Yeah, even missing out on social events or anything like that. But 100%, I wouldn't change anything about it. With the friendships I've made and from past years and on the team now, I wouldn't change anything.
What has been the toughest part?
The toughest part has probably been the losses. It's almost like grieving something. It can take you weeks or months to fully get over it, and you kind of are looking back on, would I change anything? What can I change for the future? And that kind of sticks with you. But which is also a good thing of going into a new season. You felt that hurt, and you know what to do to get past that. You don't want to experience it again.
Is there a loss in particular that stands out in your mind? One that you think about going to bed? There's those moments, isn't there, that you're constantly going around in your mind?
Yeah, I suppose the Meath All-Ireland final was the first big loss that we had when I was involved in the team. I came in and they were on the back of a few All-Ireland, so I was kind of hopping in on that. And then obviously the one to Donegal last year, that was a tough one to take as well, since it was earlier in the season, which we would have got past that over the last few years.
And what is the aim this year? What do you talk about to, I suppose, set your sights on?
I don't think there's much talk about where we want to get, but kind of the path, what we need to do to get there. There's a lot of building and learnings and stripping it back to the start. So we're looking forward to it, and I think we'll be ready and give it a go rattle come summer.
And the game in general as a whole, do you think there's anything that you would change? I know a lot of girls would like more physicality, things like that. Is there anything that you'd personally like to change within the game?
Yeah, like the physicality side of it, I think we're all working hard and we're in the gym a lot, and the games come on from maybe when the rules were done. So yeah, 100%. Even like clarification around maybe the tackle and things. There's some stuff that you don't know which way it's going to go, or the taking the hit of the body. You can get a bit more clarification on that.
Yeah, that's something that's been highlighted quite a bit over the last number of weeks. I know there's some video clips going around on Twitter of different teams where you don't know what's right and wrong anymore. So that's something definitely that probably needs to be looked into. Is it something in training that you talk about to, I suppose, get around it or to not get caught? Or is there anything that Mick talks about when you talk about the tackle?
Yeah, our backs coaches would do a lot on that. We do a lot of tackling drills and how to tackle the right way, and take the tackle in your body and take the hit. But again, there's some that you just wouldn't know when the call's made which way it's going to go. Unfortunately, but that's just the way it is at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And for you growing up, who was the player that you would have looked up to?
Probably would have been the Sales girls. Niamh McAvoy, Sinead Ahern and Nicole, they would have been big when I was young, just getting to see them play with Dublin, and also just in my local club as well, so I would have looked up to them a lot.
And Niamh is another player that stepped away. I think it was last year that she stepped away. Is she still playing club football?
She is, yeah. She had her baby Sadie, so she's back playing football now, and Sadie's up as well, up around the girls, so it's brilliant to see her back, and it's going to be great to have her back in championship as well.